Guaba. Welcome to Ghana. This informational video was made for students interested in studying abroad in Ghana who identify as LGBTQ and would like to know more about living there as a student. While this video attempts to capture the diversity of lived experiences, it is in no way comprehensive. It should be kept in mind while watching this video that, like back home, there are many factors such as one's race, nationality, or gender expression that changes the experiences for every person. Today, Ghana remains one of 70 countries in the world where same-sex relations are criminalized. For LGBTQ students who are interested in studying abroad in Ghana, it is important to know where the law stands.
So, the Criminal Offences Act clearly states unnatural carnal knowledge, which we understand, according to the best of our knowledge, is that the penetration of the male organ, sexual organ, into any other part of the body of any other person apart from the female sexual organ, which is the vagina. So anything apart from that, as the law prescribed, is against the law. As an identity, as a gay, or as gay, you are not offending the law, you're not against the law. So a policeman can't catch you that you are gay, or you are lesbian, or you're transgender.
Like most societies, the average Ghanaian tends to look at LGBTQ people through a particular lens. As a foreigner, it is important to know there is a local cultural understanding of sexuality and gender that will affect your experiences as a member of the LGBTQ community.
People have just so many myths about LGBT in Ghana, and this clouds their ability to understand their involved individuals who are human beings like they are. And these myths stem from religion, from culture, from personal beliefs, and all of that.
My sexuality probably wouldn't be at the forefront of this if it wasn't for the way that I physically present myself. Because if I was a femme, and I hate to use that, but if I was more feminine, I don't even think we would be having this discussion right now.
Because of this earring, people like to ask me why I wear it. I've been referred to as a woman before because of it, and I just kind of laugh because I feel pretty masculine most of the time, but people just see the earring and that's enough for them.
The average Ghanaian would see him and think, oh, this is a man, and he's masculine, and so he's probably not, and then the other guy is a softy, so he probably is. And then you go ask and then you realize that it's the other way now, because it's not always the softy looking guys who are.
Some males that put on go against this gender code, whatever, and then whatever, giving funny nicknames. One of them is Kojo Besia. He talks to Kojo Besia literally means Kojo is the name for a male born, somebody born on Monday. Yeah, a male born on Monday. So Kojo Besia means that male and yet a woman. Besia is the fancy word for a woman. Many of our religious figures, Christian, traditional religion, Islamic, all shades of opinion, all of these tend to frown upon homosexual or sexual relationships. So,
as far as students go, it's been mixed. Some are very religious, and I've had conversations with them, and like I said, they're not against it. They don't look at me with disdain. They just see me and see a lost soul that needs saving, and that they can potentially save me from fiery pits of hell.
Initially, many Ghanaians are surprised to hear that same-sex issues are also a matter of human rights.
Having quite some people knowing about me being gay, and they tend to use it against me. They tease me sometimes and tell me, well, he can't do this because he's gay, or certain jokes, and be like, that's very gay, that's very Musiri. They use my name,
The issue of being lynched and being beaten and being looked at as inferior, because most of the cases we have, people say you should be this and not that, and therefore they look down on them.
I think there's really one time that I really felt like my life wasn't necessarily at risk, but my security was potentially being compromised. And I was just at a bar, and some people I felt like were watching me in ways that I didn't want to be watched, and I just left. That was the best thing I could do.
Even for heterosexuals, public display of affection is a no-no. So, as a homosexual,
By even stating it on Facebook, and then you coming here, and you make friends with other queer people, that can put their sense of personal security at risk.
Let's say back in senior high school, I really felt like I was in danger every time. Always watching out for my back, hoping no one would really come attack me anyhow or anything. And I did have myself in a Taekwondo class because of that. I just had to be prepared.
Wow.
Issues of same-sex relations have occasionally come up in Ghana's national political dialogue. While there's been no major effort to decriminalize the practice, conversations about the topic are becoming much more common.
The highlight of LGBT issues happened, I think, in around the 1990s, where there was a mention of the gay conference, which was supposed to happen in Ghana. That is where the real highlight of LGBT issues started in Ghana.
One of the premier aid givers in the world, saying that our aid, actually, we want to see countries that receive our aid adhering to proper human rights, and that includes how people treat gay and lesbian people.
So to be absolutely clear, you are saying to these African countries, if you don't change your law on homosexuality, we will give you less aid.
We are.
President Atta Mills has reacted for the first time to recent comments made about Ghana by the British Prime Minister, Mr. David Cameron.
He does not have the right to direct other sovereign nations as to what they should do, especially where their societal norms and ideals are different. As president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana.
To me, as a podcast scientist, it is one of the few issues in Ghana's history that there was national consensus. All public opinion in Ghana said that, excuse my language, to hell with the aid. If that is what they plan doing, they can cut off the aid. Conservatives, like I've said, religious figures of all persuasion, both the opposition and government, it is one of the few issues where there was national consensus.
One of the most challenging issues you will face as an LGBTQ student is figuring out how to navigate Ghana with your sexual and gender identity. Despite the challenges, it is very possible to find a space you are comfortable in.
I just feel like I'm in another box, and this box is just a little bit smaller, and there's just a little bit less space.
That I kind of realized that I should start telling more Ghanaian students and really trying to open up to the culture and really understand how do I fit in here as a gay student. And after that, it became a lot easier.
I never had any negative reaction from anyone, but that's only because I told people that I knew I could trust, and no one disrespected that trust.
I also wouldn't easily say, hey, I'm gay to anyone. You can just ask me and I'll go like, yeah, because I feel it's really a sensitive issue here.
I found my spaces just by constantly meeting new people, and if I found like someone who's open-minded, like trying to explore, like see how receptive they would be to like who I am really as a person, and just making friends that way.
We must be cautious of the people we deal with, especially with foreigners who are coming to Ghana. They need to be very cautious of the people they deal with on the internet.
There are these money boys in a sense. They see you, they act all nice, and their sole purpose is just to get money from you.
There is a problem of scamming here, and some people will target gay foreigners to try to get money out of them.
There are certain safety measures. I always say, if the person starts to make demands, then definitely he is.
And ask critical questions of these people about LGBTI and what it is in your conversations, and be sure that they understand.
As a foreign student, the International Programs Office, they support gay and lesbian students. If you have any issues, you are allowed to go to them. They can help direct you to the appropriate agency at the university.
And they should also get involved with the rights institutions, and like CPEG, like Human Rights Advocacy Center, and there's WISE, there's also a Commission on Human Rights Advocacy Justice, Ghana AIDS Commission, and the United Nations and AIDS, that's UN AIDS, and all of the day institutions that would help you get to the right people.
Although LGBTQ people in Ghana continue to face discrimination and repression on a daily basis, things appear to be changing for the better.
I see the start of a dialogue, start of education and understanding of issues. I don't see a drastic change in laws or all of that, but I see the start of a discussion and understanding. If we as advocates and activists keep our momentum and keep our strategies that we're using clearly and perfectly and keep it in line, not to fight against the status quo, but to try and work around the status quo, it would help us in the next 5 years.
In recent times, as a result of travel, Western travel, and as a result of other factors, more and more of our youth who are of that homosexual orientation are coming more and more into the open. Many of our cultural values, practices are breaking down anyway. So I expect that the resistance will go away. Again, many of the youth are not as religious as the adult population.
I have a number of straight friends that accept me just the way I am. They like to hang out with me, you know. So it's a good sign. It's positive. The whole hate issue, the whole discrimination comes from the generation right above us. So I think as time goes on, as we keep going, it's just going to change gradually, because I'm seeing so much signs of hope with our current generation.
If you are someone who lives openly in the United States, it may be tempting to try and advocate for sexual rights while in Ghana. If that's the case, it is extremely important to remember that you are first and foremost an ambassador of your country, and that being an advocate from the West comes with a particular responsibility.
So right now, the West supports a certain view of sexuality, and I think that's the problem, is that they're pushing their own view on sexuality.
How Ghanaians will view LGBT is different from how the United Kingdom will view LGBT. How, even in Africa, how Nigerian will view LGBT is different from how a Ghanaian will view LGBT.
Generally, it is the mindset that it's a transportation from the West to be gay. Although, finding an academic setting, I understand that there's imperialism and neo-colonialism, but for the average Ghanaian also understands it, but not with those technical terms. The average Ghanaian understands that we still are under their control somehow, and so they feel like you can't make us puppets.
That the West should actually be gentle. It should not really come threaten, like was done by the British Prime Minister. It should not come threaten. We cut off aid if you don't do that. But then they should just raise the issue so that the consciousness will still be high.
And they need to step back and support the people who are in the struggle in the country to do the work. I think that will help.
Research is always limited because whoever you get it from, it's going to change. And I'm very hesitant coming from like a Western nation, looking at the continent of Africa and being like, this, and this is going to happen. First of all, this is Ghana, and we are not as liberal as the US. So that should be in their minds, first of all. And I'm glad that I didn't read too much into like, what I saw about like LGBTQ issues in Ghana from Google. I'd rather just have conversations with people who are willing to talk to me about this.
Be aware of how out you are and how it relates to other people.
The experience that the one gay student is having is not the experience that I'm going to have. So just because we fall along that spectrum of being LGBTQ, I mean, again, where's the socioeconomic line, race and like all these other different things.
So come expecting to learn, to observe, see how things are done here, and try to fit into that system. Don't try to change it, just work within what's already here.
Be comfortable. Challenge your comfort too. So I guess that's like a weird dynamic, to be comfortable and challenge your comfort level, but there's growth in that.
Just have fun, see places, meet people, enjoy yourself in the country, have fun, come on. You're here for a reason now.
Sometimes we the godfather in a MBT, we are right armor. Me, mommy, other, collect on a godfather. Big up every your time, every get to your time. Every get to girl will not say me a number one. Dance all king of the whole Ghana. The girl the whole Ghana. Money makers thing in the whole Ghana. Some me whopping it wide like Carter. When them know say essence still tapper. That's why the girl them love shatter. Like Bob Marley bun them like ganja. So we never fall off a shaka, we still bother. Speed them up, coming more them can drive ya. Dance all of me thing when I watch biter. Knows me.